sufficient enough to suggest I am from another planet, but it is, again, not necessarily the case. The idea of my mental and emotional vibratory frequency, my heartfelt understanding of the infinite is of such a different vibration, that would perhaps seem to you the most different. That would be what would feel to you to be the most different in that sense. And it would be a frequency that would, in a sense, be catalyzing, like a catalyst, activating within you the understanding more of your actual nature, which would bring to the surface any beliefs that are not in alignment with your actual nature, which might be a little unsettling for you at first. That having discordant beliefs, being enlightened, being exposed in the moment of presence with a vibration of someone such as myself, whose vibration is very in tune with the actual nature of existence. That does not allow for discordant beliefs based in limitation, to exist in my frequency of being, simply because the vibration of my consciousness sheds light on that which is, in a sense, in darkness. And sometimes that which has been in the dark for so long can be put off a bit when suddenly a bright light shines upon it. As if you've been in a room with all the lights off and suddenly someone turns the lights on. It can take a few moments before your eyes adjust, and you might initially cover your eyes from the brightness. In that sense, it can be the same. My consciousness can be so in tune with the actual nature of existence that those on your planet who have for so long been with beliefs based in limitation and separation, in a sense, in a dark space of beliefs, it would be then like this, from a perspective of how they experience each moment. When someone of a vibration of light, of understanding, is turned on in the presence of their being. Do you follow that idea?
I love when you speak with our hands. I mean, that's just amazing.
Thank you. Yes. Interesting, aren't they? A little bit different than my hands, than these I see. I suppose that you see as well.
Yes, yes. Very interesting. So, do you have, what is your eye coloration and hair coloration, for instance?
My hair is a brilliant blonde, very bright blonde quality, and my hair tends to be, at this timing, a little bit longer than last I spoke, when that perhaps was over 3 of your years ago. In that sense, I have some hair lengthening in that sense. It has grown. And that is something then over time. There are a variety of us who have had various lengths of hair, and that my eyes tend to be of a blue, radiant quality in that sense, with a little subtle bit of a green at this time. That is something that does change a little bit as well over time. Has a little bit to do with the frequency of my understanding, of my experiencings, as well as the locations, geologically, geographically, spatially, planetarily, that I have been spending more of my time in. Those are factors and vibrations that can alter the colorations of my eyes to some degree. I believe, in my experience, that Earth humans, such as yourself, often the eye coloration doesn't change as dramatically.
Yes.
Over a lifetime, but it is something that our biology is at a higher, more flexible frequency, more changeable frequency. In that sense, coloration for me and others can change somewhat. Mm-hmm. And again, the hair is primarily of a blonde quality, but it is of a longer than last we spoke. And understand in our civilization there has been introduction more of those with more DNA from your world, and that then they have tendency to have more variation biologically. Their body can be of various shapes, colors, sizes. Their skin color varies as well. Their hair color and length can vary as well. In that sense, more so than when we last spoke. For the DNA mixture is a little bit stronger of Earth human in our more recent birthings of Yahyel civilization.
Wow.
Even that our Yahyel civilization has created with your Earth human civilization a whole new hybrid child called the Yahuane. That's Yahuane. Yahuane are then a very new hybrid civilization. We are hybrid children in the sense of yours and other extraterrestrial civilizations that contributed to the DNA of our biology. But to understand then, the Yahuane, their DNA is more of a mixture of ours and yours. You Earth humans have a mixture of extraterrestrial DNA in your biology as well. So, with your DNA mixture and our DNA mixture, the Yahuane have a vast more DNA mix, even so, than you and your world tend to have, and I and those in my world tend to have. But the idea is there are in our Yahyel civilization as well those of Yahyel who have more variations in their physical appearance than we had even a few short years ago in time of contact upon your framework of past, present, and future. For our timelines are somewhat different than yours.
Uh-huh. We tend to live to be 80 years old on average. How about your race?
That varies.
Yeah.
That varies. We have some that can live approximately what you might think of as a couple hundred of your years in that timeline. We have the openness to transfer from our physical body into the other lifetime that comes after our current embodiment, for we know this affords us the opportunity to incarnate in a new body, in a new civilization, maybe the same, but perhaps even on a different planet, in a different civilization, to have new experiences. So the idea then of trying to remain eternally in one lifetime isn't something we hold on to. The fear that we're going to die isn't something that we have. We understand that when we die, we will move into a new realm. Can be physical, but it will be an enjoyable experience. Just in a sense, if you will, as an analogy, you read a book, it has a chapter, it has 2 chapters, 3 chapters, maybe the book has 10 chapters. So each chapter can be like a lifetime in a given civilization, and then thus when we die in our current body, that would be like the end of the first chapter. If we incarnate into then a new lifetime on that same planet, in that same civilization, that would be like the beginning of chapter 2. And then in a sense, if we had a book with 10 chapters in the analogy, we would perhaps have 10 different incarnations in the same civilization. Could be it could be something that occurs and transpires over 1,000 years or more in that sense, in the terms of your timeline on Earth, that this takes place, having 10 different lifetimes, 10 different chapters on the same civilization. And then, perhaps in the 11th lifetime, we incarnate in a whole new civilization, an entirely different region of your Milky Way galaxy, possibly even another galaxy altogether, perhaps the Andromeda galaxy. The idea then, that would be the end of that book. And then there's the opportunity to start a whole new book in terms of the analogy and how we're talking about life and death, living a life in one body, one incarnation, and then rebirthing, reincarnating into another lifetime, into another body. This is something that is very understood, and we embrace it. We enjoy having the opportunity to move from one chapter to the next, from one book to the next. It provides for more opportunity of variety, of experience in that way. And we find it to be most delightful. Yes, do you understand that idea?
Sure. So basically, the current society where you are embodied now lives up to 200 or 300 years.
There are some, yes, in that way. Some will choose to transpire at a earlier age. So understand, this isn't in that sense something that we are all rigidly contained within that idea of 200 or 300 years. Primarily, an average, there is at this timing 200 years. And again, that is something that can change. It isn't something that is fixed in the way you have experienced the average lifetime upon your planet. It is not as rigid as you may think that idea has to be.
Right. Understood. Now, does that mean that once we meet you, we are going to have about that average lifespan?
That then does not necessarily apply to Earth human lifespan, just from having met us. No. There are many other factors that will come into place. More of your collective society's choosing than that of contact with us. But contact with us will then have an effect on how you as a society define the idea of an average lifespan upon Earth. But then what you choose and how you choose to define or redefine the average lifespan will be something you as a collective